You're gonna get somewhere, right?
one thing for sure, if you don't try, you're never gonna get, anyway. What can I do to bring value to the economy, to improve the economy? In this way, automatically, the economy pays them back.
We function by helping each other. That's how the world is built, right?
But it's a mindset. How can I add value instead of how can I extract value?
Get Gel, the wisdom for your well.
Hello, Reb Shulam. How are you? How's it going?
Gewaldig, how are you, Reb Chaim?
I'm doing very good, Baruch Hashem. Any news the last week that you want to share with me?
There's been so much going on in the world. Um, you know, I think one thing that I'm beginning to see, and I think you actually mentioned this as well, the type of leadership that we're seeing today in the government is a leadership of absolute confidence. And you're seeing people like Trump and his people who are just they've made a decision of what vision they have in their mind, and they're going to act on it. And it just seems like no matter what, they're going to make it happen. And they might shoot for the stars and end up settling for the moon, whatever it is. But they set a vision and they just go at it, and then deal with the consequences afterward. But I think it's quite incredible to see how this type of leadership, the consequences is having. You're seeing people all over the world responding, and and the response is so much more serious, than just kind of playing games and back and forth.
Are you
I,
referring?
I
Are you referring to what I mentioned about? Trump said that he doesn't have time to focus on all the other stuff. He just focuses on where he wants to go, and that's his focus, and that's where he goes.
Yeah, you touched on that, but you're seeing it amongst all of his cabinet. He's picking people who are visionaries. You're not just seeing
Right.
politicians, you're seeing visionaries. And if I have anything to comment on, I just would say that it's fascinating to watch how this form of leadership is developing and what we can learn from it, whether we agree with
Absolutely.
his politics or not.
Absolutely. And I tell you, it has nothing to do with your vision on politics, what you think and what how
Right.
it has nothing to do with, with any candidate. It has nothing to do with the outcome. It has to do just to see how different people do different things. And I agree
Exactly.
with you. You can learn so much from it. I agree with you. I'm learning
Yeah,
every day from Trump.
it's incredible to watch. Um, it really is incredible, and it's funny because in the same time we're going through the Shovavim, and the Havdil. Obviously, Moshe Rabbeinu is no comparison, or I should say, Trump is no comparison to Moshe Rabbeinu. But you're seeing a leadership emerge during the Shovavim as well. You're seeing Moshe turn into a leader who, and particularly in this week's parsha in Beshalach, it was one challenge after the other, and the challenges have shifted from being the avos who had their own personal challenges to this in Shmais we're seeing communal challenges. We're seeing how collectively Klal Yisrael has to face all these different issues, and you're seeing Moshe Rabbeinu, who's not just dealing with his own family or dealing with his own personal self, but he's becoming a leader of millions of people, and you're watching him evolve into this role. And also, Moshe Rabbeinu was just stuck. He's got a vision. He knows where he's headed. He knows the direction he's in. And it's his job to convince not just himself, but everybody else that we have to work together and we can't get distracted by these things. And, so it's interesting to kind of see that. By no means am I suggesting that Trump falls into that category, but
Right. No, but
that
listen.
drive, that passion.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's unbelievable. I'm definitely gaining a lot from it. And just for the matter of fact, where is your focus? Because I don't remember exactly how I heard it, but something like where focus flows, where focus goes, energy flows, something like that.
Right,
So if your
right,
focus is on all the naysayers, if your focus is on everybody that tells you can't do it, it can't be done, then this is where your energy is going to flow, and this is what you're going to accomplish. More of that.
right,
But
right.
if your focus is what your big picture is, what you really want to accomplish, that's where your focus is, and that's where the energy is going to go, and you're going to accomplish that, Bezos Hashem. Okay, as you said,
Absolutely.
sometimes You land on the stars, and sometimes you land on the moon, but you're gonna land somewhere.
You're gonna get somewhere, right?
One thing for sure, if you don't try, you're never gonna get, anyway.
That's for sure. And so, I mean, you asked me anything that came up this week. I just watching. I mean, over this past week, seeing all these things happening. In the meanwhile, Mitzidenu and our, we're leaning Parshish Bashalach and seeing, Klal Yisrael emerge. It was just incredible to kind of see in action how
Right,
how drive and passion will just literally changes the world.
right. Can I share with you something else I heard this week that I think is interesting and it's worthwhile talking about it?
By all means.
Most people are looking to scratch off something from the economy for their benefit.
Right,
Rich people are looking to put in money into the economy by using the brain.
right.
What do you make of that?
So, when you say using your brain, I mean, can you just elaborate on it a little bit more? What do you mean by using their brain?
So the way I look at it is like this. I listened to a podcast where they were talking about that, and the way I understand it is, and by the way, I understand it because that was most of my life so far, and I got a wake up call when I heard that. For most people, they're looking at the economy and they're trying to see what can I gain from the economy? Where can I scratch off something from the economy that the economy can give me something? And this is the way that
Right,
you're trying to build your business. You see the economy, I see myself, and I want to see what can I do to get something from the economy. So in other
right,
words, you're not creating anything new. You're not putting in anything into the economy. Yeah, you're putting in a service, you're putting in a certain value. I'm not saying, I'm not going to say that you're not putting in anything in. Of course, you're putting something in. But the focus is that there is a certain bundle of energy or a bundle of money or a bundle of whatever you want to call it. And you're trying to scratch some money out of the economy in order for you to benefit from it. That's for most people. Rich people, when I talk about rich people, I mean wealthy people, really wealthy people. What they're trying to do is they're trying to see what can I put into the economy in order for the economy to become better. Like maybe I can create some content, some my own content. Maybe I can create my own creativity. What can I do to bring value to the economy, to improve the economy? In this way, automatically, the economy pays them back.
right. Kind of like don't ask what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for the country. Don't
Right.
ask
And
what
what
the
happens
economy
if
can
you
do
do
for
that?
you.
The country will do for you more than if you just ask what can the country do for me?
That's a fascinating insight. The question is, do you have to be wealthy in order to be able to view things that way? Because when you don't have money, you have a survival instinct. You're just looking out to get yourself, ahead of the game. So, are you suggesting that has to shift early on? That even when you don't have you have to have that type of perspective,
I'm not suggesting anything. We're having a conversation. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to learn this together with you now. So
right?
I'm taking a concept that I heard from it this week, and I'm pointing. My goal is that people should have inspiration by our conversations about certain things that inspires us. For me,
Right,
this inspired. So, of course, somebody doesn't have, from where to cover his Shabbos, he should go do whatever he can to have the parnosa that he needs. That's not what I'm talking about.
right,
What I'm talking about somebody who's at the stage that he wants to get to another level in his life.
right.
And another
I
level.
think,
And by the way,
yeah,
when I say success, and when say rich, when I say wealthy, of course, by most people, the definition is money, but it doesn't have to be money. I'm talking about anybody who accomplishes something significant.
right.
For somebody like that, if you want to accomplish something like Trump calls it mega, let's call it mega. You want something bigger than the average. Usually, it doesn't start with what can I get. It starts with what
What
can I
can I
give.
give? And I think that's it's just triggering a lot of things in my mind. I think we find that you find in relationships. There's a famous Rishim Shafel Hirsch that says the shirish of ahava is have, giving. If you want a real relation based on love and trust, you have to be willing to give before you're going to get. And so I think that's a yesod in relationships. I think it's you definitely find it in a workplace. that if you really want to be successful in your workplace, you have to first be prepared to give what you have to offer. And then you'll reap the benefits of what you're going to gain. I'll tell you a quick Misa that I saw this Yisoid Mamish, so it was so obvious after it was brought to my attention. But you know, I was a Rav, in London for many years, and there was a new organization that wanted to open up a shul in our neighborhood, and there were people in the community who were very concerned about allowing this organization in because it would affect the other shuls and their other shuls' ability to bring in new mispalim and to be able to do their work. There was this concern of, people had this concern of feeling very threatened. And I went to speak to Dayan Lopian Zatzal, who was at the time my Rebbe. I did Shimish by him for many years in London. And I told him this dilemma that I'm being asked to stand up against this new organization and say that you're not welcome here. And I asked him what he thought. He said, Rav Shalom, I'm going to tell you a yisoid. He said, the more pubs, the more drinkers. He says, the more you avail yourself to them, and you said you open your arms to them and you give them a big hug and kiss and welcome them. He says, not only are they going to be successful, but all the other shuls and all the other organizations in the community are going to also be successful. Because he said, when we make room for each other, and like you said, when we give, then everyone is going to gain exponentially. You're just going to create a spirit of growth that everybody's going to benefit from. And I've ever since he's told me that, I've applied that to just about every situation that I've faced in these types of circumstances. We are feeling threatened because we're kind of self-focused and we're concerned about our own welfare, causes us to be limited, to be able to see a bigger picture. But the world functions, chesed olam yibana. We function by helping each other. That's how the world is built. It's an item chesed. We build it by doing chesed, by making room for each other and looking at it. And it's extremely difficult when you're having a hard time paying your bills, and all of a sudden somebody's threatening that ability to pay your bills and to make money. But I think if I'm understanding you correctly, punkt verkehrt. It's when we make room for those threats and we make room for people. Of course, it has to be done b'chachma, and you have to know, that there's equal concern on both sides for each other. But if indeed that's in place, then we only gain by continuing to build an environment where we make room for each other.
Absolutely. I tell you, I'm thinking now that saying the story, I'm thinking about what is the best way to have as much milk as possible from a cow.
Right.
To extract milk every day. The more that you extract, the more it's gonna come. Even just breastfeeding, the more that the baby nurses, the more milk is gonna come for the baby. So everything,
Right.
it goes. People think that energy in the world is finite or money is finite. Once they understand there's an infinite amount of energy, especially somebody who believes in the Ribbon Shlo. But I want to tell you, Shulam, something else that I think when people hear such a thing, they start thinking about giving to others. Like, of course, it's important to give to others, but sometimes all you need is to understand charity begins at home. It doesn't have to
Yes.
be strange people. It could be your own family. And
Yeah.
and the more that you want to give and the more that you want to add and create, I think that's the right word, create. I think I love that word because we're at Tzelem Elokim. We are same as the creator. The creator creates, and the Rebbeinu Shalom gave us the energy to be able to co-create together.
Right.
And we create, and we want to create more. And how do we create? By our creativity. We create
Right.
more and more, and it improves the world. In return, we also going to benefit.
Right.
But it's a mindset. How can I add value instead of how can I extract value?
Right, absolutely, and I'll just digress for a moment, but I'll tell you, you see this oftentimes in marketing, and today, there's a lot of people involved on LinkedIn and selling their products and so on, and you see two distinct types of approaches. There are the people who, in order to make a name for themselves, knock everybody else in the industry, and they point out how everybody else doesn't doesn't offer the same, or they're just not as good. But the other type of marketing is, hey, everyone's got something to offer, and I also have something to offer, and I have my unique niche. Why don't you see if maybe what I have to offer fits better for what you're looking for? but it's such a different approach rather than knocking everybody, saying, they all have something to offer, but I fit into there too. But why don't you allow me the opportunity to show you maybe what I have to offer aligns more with what you're looking for? And I honestly get so turned off, even if the people who are offering something is fantastic, but if they take that negative approach, that already is like making, clicking flags in my mind that, I'm not sure if this is the people I want to deal with, because if this is how they're going to make me successful is by knocking other people, that doesn't sit well with me. But if it's the people who want to work, and help me to identify all the resources available, and perhaps by utilizing their resource, it's going to enable me to also appreciate what everyone else has. That's really what attracts me more than the actual pitch, is the format of the pitch, and it's the negativity that turns me off. And I don't, maybe it's just a sensitivity of mine, but I just, it makes me wonder, like, if in order to be successful, you have to take other people down. That to me is not a good recipe for long-term success, and it's an attitude
I agree.
that doesn't rub a.
I agree. But I want to add one more thing. Yeah, I agree with you. Negativity, I don't know. Let's put it this way. If you want to get a quality person like Shulam on your side, you're not going to get it by being negative. Let's put it this way. Maybe you're going to be able to deal with other people.
Yeah.
There's a famous press conference with Sam Walt, founder of Walmart.
Uh,
He was, I don't remember, which time did he live? You remember?
I mean, I don't. I think he was around in definitely in the 70s and 80s when he was building up Walmart, maybe even the 90s.
Okay, but one recession that happened during his lifetime, while he was building Walmart, a news reporter asked him, "Mr. Walt, what do you think about the recession?" And he's quiet like for 30 seconds, and then he says, I thought about it and I decided not to participate.
Mhm.
And sometimes when there are difficult times in the economy, people think, "Oh, what's going to happen? I don't know. The economy is so difficult, blah, blah, blah." Once you understand that the economy has nothing to do with your with your finances, and one of the ways that you understand that is by understanding that it's your creativity that you're putting into the economy. It has nothing to do with what you're taking out. People who take out
Right.
usually suffer when there are hard financial difficulties. But people who understand that my economy, my world is what I'm putting in. It has nothing to do with taking out. I think they are recession proof.
Right. You know, I I want to. Can I share a thought with you?
Please.
It's actually from Parshas Kairach. You're just triggering in my mind a lot of different
No, it's
thoughts, but
amazing to have a co-host a rabbi. You have all this.
so, by Kairach, we know the whole Maisa, Kairach and Moshe. Rabbi Yerucham Levitch, the Mir Mashgiach, says such an incredible insight into that whole parsha. He says Chazal say that the difference between Gan Eden and Gehenna is the Kechuta Saira. It's as thin as a thread. He says that applies to Kairach and Moshe. Why? He says because at the end of the day, they were both after the same thing. They both wanted to be the leaders that Klal Yisrael needed. He said, but Kairach's approach was, Moshe has something I want. In order for me to get it, I've got to take him down. I've got to remove him out of the picture in order for me to get where I need to be. Moshe Rabbeinu, on the other hand, didn't approach it that way. He was trying to find ways that he could work with Kairach, in order to make sure that everybody could grow. He says, there's a difference between, we know Kina is one of uh, the worst midas to have. On the other hand, you find Chazal tells Kina say from Tarba Chachma. It's a great thing when it comes to growing spiritually and in Ruchnias. So Rabbi Yerucham explains the difference is that the Talmud Chacham, or the person who says he has something I want, he shouldn't. I deserve it. He shouldn't have it. That's Gehenna. But the Talmud Chacham who says that what does he have that I don't have, and what can I do to improve myself in order to express what I have to offer, so that people will recognize what I have to offer, and I can therefore share that with people. That's Tarba Chachma. So rather than, and that's the Chutta Saira between Gan Eden and the Gehenna. because Kairach only saw what he didn't have and therefore wanted to take it away in order to get there, that ended up, we know, he ended up having a very unfortunate demise. But Moshe Rabbeinu, who said, I know I have what to offer. I've got to find a way to express it and work together and allow Klal Yisrael to gain from it. That's Gan Eden. So, when we approach situations and we see threats, we have to think, how am I going to approach this? Is my approach going to be I'm going to try to take him down and get him out of the way? Or is it going to be what can I do that will enable me to get as much notice and as much success as he's having? What can I do to make that happen? And with what I have to offer, and then everybody can gain. And I think that's aligned with what you're saying is we have to think creatively. We all have what to offer. Just because Yanam's more successful in the industry I want to be in doesn't mean there's no place for me. Because I'm just as unique as he is, but I've got a different experiences. I've got different personality. There are people who are going to relate better to me than him, but that doesn't mean he has to be removed. It just means I have to do a better job of articulating, and I have to recognize the value that I have to offer and be able to share that with people. And that is
Absolutely,
is
yes.
really the flip side of taking away is giving.
Right. You know, I heard from a Talmud Chacham, I forgot where it says, but he told it to me in the name of some of the older Mefarshim. He said that it says, Kinnes Safram Tar B'Chachma. Chazal say Kinnes Safram Tar B'Chachma, so he adds, V'afal Pikan Mida Magunai.
Mhm.
So Chazal never say that it's a nice thing to have Kinnes Safram. Never.
Right,
They
right,
just give you the fact, and that's the fact. If you have
right,
competition, you're gonna increase chachma. If you have competition between wise people, you're gonna increase chachma. But that doesn't mean that you should have kina. Alpha
right,
pikan midamagina.
right. But you can switch that kinna into something positive. It
Of
doesn't.
course
It
you
may start
can,
as
but
kinna,
unfortunately, a lot of people
right?
don't know how to do
You
that.
get stuck in the kinna part. But I think what we're both agreeing on is that you know if a person recognizes the value they have to offer and is able to articulate that and is clear on why I'm unique, then once you have that clarity, you can fly with it. You can reach for the stars and reach the stars. You can and get there. Uh, but the first step is recognizing that just because somebody else is more successful than I am doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. It just should drive me to figure out what do I have to do in order to express my uniqueness.
Absolutely. So to sum it up, after this whole conversation, if you want to be recession proof, if you want to be as similar as possible to your creator, being part of your
Right,
creator, start creating. And the first
start
place that
creating.
you can create something that nobody else can create is using your brain, using your own creativity. What can I
Right,
put in to the economy? What can I put into other people's lives? And it could start with your own family. And then you
right,
can start building from there more and more.
right. Absolutely. And it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It's
Some
this
parts are easy, some parts are not easy, but figure it out.
right,
Use your
right,
creativity.
right. But I
So
think
should
it's
we
important
finish
to
it with this and then we'll continue next week?
could do. Yeah. I want to finish off by saying that, we're today living in an environment where this kind of like overdose of positivity. We all have to be positive. You know, we have rough times and we're not always going to be positive and we're going to get rubbed negatively by other people and things are going to bother us. We're human beings and that's okay and that's normal. But, we have to also just remember to keep our eyes on the prize and know that, you know,
Yeah, but I think
there might
when
be,
people are talking positive, it doesn't mean that they're saying there are no problems. I think what they're saying is focus on the positive, focus of going forward. What do you have to do next? That's what you should focus on.
right.
If you know what happened to the wife of Lloyd when she looked back,
Yeah,
she became
we know what
salt.
happened.
And it happens
Right,
to me as well, by the way. Sometimes I look back, I become salt. So look
right,
forward.
right.
And
Just
that's
got
the
to remember
positive
that. Yeah.
thing. Look forward, look forward, look forward. And that's what we started the conversation with Trump. Where is your
Yeah.
focus? Is your focus on all the negatives that everybody's doing? Okay, that's where you're gonna end up.
Right.
I gotta tell you something, I don't know why we're talking about Trump this episode, but but I remember after Trump won the first election, and usually until Trump became elected, usually when somebody came into office, they never spoke about the old candidates. They just continued. And all of a sudden, Trump came into office. He never stopped talking about Obama. Obama did this.
Right.
Obama did that. Obama. And then one day I see Obama saying that I live in the most expensive real estate in the world, rent free.
Right.
Somebody asked him where he says, I live in Trump's head. I mean, I don't even pay rent, and he thinks about me all the time. Where is your focus? Your focus should be where you want to go, and that's positive, hopefully. Not looking
Right.
back where you're coming from, and which could end up being negative, as we know. Vahi, Chazal say, Vahoyu is Elushin Simcha,
Right.
and Vahi is Elushin Tsar. If you look back, it's usually a lot of pain involved. If you look
Absolutely.
forward,
Yes.
it's usually, hopefully looking forward for simchas, for positive, for positive.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. Geweldig. Shkoyach.
Atzlocha Rabbi Reb Shulem. Have a wonderful week.
Yes. You too, Reb Chaim.
Get Gel, the wisdom for your well. Get Gel, the wisdom for your well.